This is the 91st minute. Manchester United, as preseason's coming to a close, lots of games for them. I think 8 in total. Started out with Leeds and Lyon in Europe, then moved to the USA, playing Arsenal, Wrexham, Madrid, Dortmund, and going back to Europe with Lens and Bilbao before starting their campaign against Wolves in the Premier League. A couple additions to the club this summer. We have Mason Mount, Andre Onana, latest signing Rasmus Højlund, and rumored Amrabat coming to cover that defensive mid position. Lots of ups and downs. United brought their reserve team to the US on the tour. They played a couple games almost exclusively, while the first team played the following day. Ten Haag trying to get a lot of minutes in for his players, testing things out, getting Onana settled, the new goalkeeper. Cultured, what do you make of this preseason, the first kind of Ten Hag preseason, if you will, at the club for Ten Hag?
It's been decent. Much like Milo said, I'm happy we've got most of our transfer stuff done early comparative to what we normally do, which is panic around and overpay on deadline day for somebody. But it's been pretty good. I mean, a good win over Arsenal, a tough game against Dortmund where we started with our sort of reserve team, and then the last half hour we brought on all senior teams and it got worse, which was a little bit of a concern. But it's been good. I think we're seeing how Ten Hag wants to play, and that's good to see, because we've been a bit lost in terms of a style before. I think Ten Hag, even last season, there was still, with De Gea in goal, there was still a lot of that, okay, we're not even going to attempt to play out from the back after the Brentford and the Brighton results, and we're just going to try and get it forward as quick as we can from De Gea's feet. I think it's good to see that changing. It's been good. I think it could have been a lot better results-wise. I think results-wise could have been a lot better, but I'm not reading into results. So many managers, both teams will be trying new sort of tactics, different players in different positions. I think we've been in the pre-season without an out-and-out striker. We've seen Jadon Sancho at number 9. We've seen Rashford at number 9. We've seen Joe Hugill played at number 9 against Dortmund. So it's been an interesting one. It's been interesting. What I'm positive about and taking away is the youngsters that have come through. I think KB Mino has done really well. He's been really impressive in pre-season. Forson has looked good as well, although he did pick up a cheap yellow card against Dortmund, get taken off and get a very public bollocking from Erik Ten Haag. It was a very orchestrated. It seemed a bit orchestrated to sort of be like, this is how we're going to treat the youngsters, and it's up to them to show if they can deal with it, sort of thing. But sorry, go on, Kurt.
Did you hear the story behind the Forson taking off the yellow card?
No. What was the
Ten Hag basically said that if there was VAR, that would have been a red card, so he took him off.
There you go. So yeah, okay. Well, I like that from the manager then. Yeah,
I love
that.
it.
So,
I love it.
Yeah, and I think it shows that he was happy with what Forson's done on pre-season, because you could have very easily have subbed him off and just go and sit down, but he had a talk to him and gave him a bollocking. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it's been what I expect pre-season to be, especially when it's in America and you're going for the, let's be honest, you're going for the fans and the income, right?
Big, yeah.
Big income, big supporters. I mean, was it Rose Bowl where we played Leeds? No, not Leeds.
It was Arsenal at a MetLife Stadium in near 82,000.
Oh yeah, 82, that's it. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, 82,000, which is great for both clubs. It's really good. I do think, results could have been better. Some of the football's been good. Some of it's been average, but it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not too bad. We're missing something, and I think that's a striker and something else in midfield. Fred's been really good or absolutely terrible in pre-season, and McTominay's only played like 2 or 3 games. So
they left Fred at home. By the way, they left Fred at home. He didn't even tour.
He didn't even go to. No, I think he did.
No,
Fred.
Fred is being rumored is rumored to be moving to Galatasaray now. That's the rumors now. They left him home.
I swear they left him at home to start, and then they bought him late on.
He played the European games. He played some of the European games.
Okay.
And then he didn't come on the US tour.
Right.
Yeah, against we played our first team for I think 45 minutes against Arsenal. First 45 minutes we had. So I think we saw what the first team would look like, what the play style is. Obviously, we didn't have Onana at that time. We had Tom Heaton, but Tom Heaton played some really nice long balls. He was pretty comfortable with his feet, a lot more comfortable with his feet than De Gea was. He created kind of a couple chances he created one of the goals from a long ball down the wing. But we'll see a lot more of that with Onana. And then against Madrid, we played our first team with Kobe Mino getting the start, which was nice to see. Unfortunately, he got injured in the first 2 minutes, so that was kind of a bummer for him. And during that time is when Real Madrid scored Jude Bellingham, beautiful chip. But yeah, those were the 2 games where we started our first team, and I think we showed, obviously against Arsenal, we were extremely hyped for that game. 82,000 fans in the stadium. Like, it's not a friendly at that point. Like 82,000 fans screaming, yelling, American military minded people. It's just like, if you can't, just as a human being, right? As a human being, you can't be casual in that situation, right? You either rise to the occasion or you bend over and miss a Bruno shot with his left foot like Ramsdale did. Like you just let it go through your hands.
Wow.
or Gabriel
going in heavy on the attack. I see.
Can't control a long ball. Gabriel with no pressure
2
on him.
individual errors gifted you 2 goals. We move on in a meaningless game.
Yeah.
No, but
these opinions aren't shared between me and Kurt.
No. Cultured messaged me these. I'm just he didn't want to Basically what I'm saying is,
my goodness me,
there are occasions where as a human being you don't want to you want to perform.
No, that was an occasion for the American fans that can't go week in, week out. For those Arsenal players, it was just another pre-season run out,
and that's how you know there's a problem. That's how you know there's a problem.
Okay, so and when we get to the predictions part of this segment, like we did with the Arsenal segment, we will definitely enjoy your predictions because I think they're going to be pretty high.
What?
Well, I don't know. He said Arsenal's going to win the league, so it can't be first.
Yeah, that was just him. That's just him trying to make some friends with Arsenal fans on that other segment. Don't worry about it.
Predictions.
I know his game.
Look, predictions. I can predict United. I could hypothetically see them finishing 8th. I could see them finishing 1st. I could see them finishing 3rd. It's a prediction.
Interesting. So that's what you said about Arsenal. So you think we're in a similar vein?
What?
Well, you said you could make an argument for Arsenal finishing 7th and Arsenal finishing 1st, and you just said that about Man United. So you think we're in a similar vein in terms of where we're at?
No, you guys you should be better than us right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
fourth year under Arteta, you guys have spent so much. Your first team played so well last season. You have, Saka, arguably one of the best players in the Premier League. Now you're supporting him. Like, this is what I was talking about. Maybe it was season before last. How Saka, if Arsenal don't challenge for a title, he's going to be looking elsewhere, right? And you guys have put a package together to keep him there and to make him feel comfortable, and you're supporting him. I think Saka is the future of the Premier League. He's going to be the best player in the Premier League.
He's one of, and certainly for England too, you would hope. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, we're going back to Arsenal now, but that's, I don't know why are we going back to Arsenal?
I don't know, because you really wanted to zero in on that friendly game because that game meant it meant a lot to you, and I think that's cute.
No, it didn't mean a lot to me. I think it's cute. It didn't mean anything to me.
It did.
It meant a lot to the players, and that's what matters to me.
It meant a lot to you.
No, it didn't.
Because you're in America.
No, it did not. It did not mean anything to me. It meant a lot to me that it meant a lot to the players. You know,
so what about the players when you lost the next game?
Because everyone these days
how did you feel about
plays
that?
like is in this Arsenal mentality of old, where it's, you know, it's a friendly, it's casual, top four, you know, blah blah blah. You know,
it is a preseason game.
No. This was not okay. Look, it's a preseason game, but you have to show up. There's 82,000 souls in the stadium, there to watch your team, the team that you support for the whole season. You're not going to go there and fold it and make some silly mistakes like Arsenal did.
Maybe Ten Hag, and I'm not saying this is wrong, by the way. This is not an attack on Ten Hag. I promise you. Maybe his plan was, I want you to go show me what you can do, specifically in this way. And maybe they did that for the first 45 minutes, because after that, I don't think it's not like it was a whitewash. It was two individual errors. Yeah.
Like
but anyway, I don't want to get into that so much. But my point being that, like, I think, you know, there's an argument that Arteta said, I just want to see you try this. Because if you actually look at tactically what Arsenal did in that game versus United, several things were tried. Several different things were tried over the 90 minutes.
I do think there will be an element of Ten Hag going, let's go and show what we can do against the team that challenged City last year. This is one of the top performing teams last year. And I do agree more with Milo that when you watch that game, there are tactically things that Arsenal did in that game that they didn't do last year. They were clearly trying stuff. Man United played in the system that they wanted Ten Hag to do. And I do think the players would have been excited and would have been happy to win that game. I think when Bruno scored it, his celebration showed that he was very excited to score in that game. But I think that comes from what has been told to them
and
before
that's
the
it.
game.
And that's all.
Maybe.
I know the result doesn't matter, but it's the mentality of the players wanting to win all the time. That's all I care about.
But that doesn't work though, does it? Because they went on to proceed to lose the next two games. So that mentality in the preseason means absolutely fuck all.
No. What are you talking about? Of course it matters.
Well, you're just saying.
What are you talking about? That makes no sense. What you just said.
They still wanted to
just
win.
because you want to win and you lose is totally different than not wanting to win and losing. That's two completely different things. That doesn't make any sense.
Correction: the next three games. Yeah.
No, we played our first team against Arsenal. Competed with them easily. Fine. You were trying Timber on a false fullback on the right side. Fine. That's the big tactical change you did. Right. Fair enough. We also had Mason Mount in the team for the first time playing with his team. What do you want to call that? You know, I don't know.
Your reaction shows
I'm not making
you,
excuses.
You care so much about that preseason game. I will feel this passionate when we play each other in a game that actually means something.
No. Okay. I'm passionate about the performance of my players. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I would be disappointed in Ramsdale, and I would be disappointed in Gabriel Magalhaes.
But there were also things in that game where I'm like, I like what he did there. I like that Saka's, by the way, experimenting, dribbling more with his right foot, which is something Wenger told him to do in the offseason.
And that's fine. You should be happy about that. That's great.
I am. There's things they're doing that I see, but it's not the end of the world. Like, you want it to be the end of the world because you won this preseason game.
No, because you're acting like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
No, the performance does matter. The performance does matter.
Two individual mistakes. That's it.
Yeah.
So what? Get them out the way now.
No,
what a time to do it.
Two individual mistakes, and generally we had much more control of the game, and there's a lot of things in that game that was different, right? Lisandro Martinez pushing forward like a false center back is a new thing. We didn't see that because we didn't have a goalkeeper that could play with the ball at his feet, right? There's a lot of things changing. Ten Hag's playing complete total football. A lot of times
so what happened in the next three games when he tried to play complete total football?
Do you want to analyze it? Because we can. Against Madrid.
I'm asking you a question.
All right. Okay.
What happened? If he's playing complete total football and it's amazing and it's so good, what happened the next three games where you tried to play total football?
Against Madrid, we went down to 10 men, conceded. And then after that, then the amazing bicycle kick they scored. We created a couple chances. We're lacking in the attacking department. We've signed Højlund. Now we have Garnacho, Rashford off the left. It'll be interesting to see who starts in that position. Holjon through the middle now will provide some pace behind the line. You know, because Martial doesn't provide pace behind the line. Sancho doesn't provide pace behind the line. Weghorst definitely did not last season. So we'll be able to push the back line of the opponent further back, which is funny enough how Madrid scored, right? Vinicius making a dummy run, and Bellingham coming through with the long ball over the top. That's how they scored. You know, these types of things, they have no, the desire of the first team was there, right? We lost to the better team on the day. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So,
yeah.
And you know what? That's
Madrid is as good as we're gonna play in Europe. That's Madrid is as good as we're gonna play, and Arsenal is as good as we're gonna play in the Premier League. Right?
You know, when look, we won't know what any of that meant until at least, well, ultimately till May next season.
You said the following 3 games. Let me finish. Okay. First, against Wrexham, we played our reserve team. Okay, we played our reserve team. If you want to count that, you can count that. And then against Dortmund,
I don't care who you played and what the score was, because it was preseason. It literally means nothing.
Then why are you bringing it up? Why are you saying then you went on to lose 3 games? Blah blah.
Because you're making a big deal about how you played total football and won a game.
No, you didn't. By the way, you mentioned Arsenal were trying things tactically. You didn't mention anything tactically, and you know, when we were talking about him. I'm trying to talk tactics about what Ten Hag is doing. Oftentimes you'll see Wan-Bissaka at the 10.
You're attacking me for not talking. I did talk
No.
tactics.
I'm not. I'm saying why it matters. I'm saying why it matters. I'm not attacking you about whatever, you know. I'm just saying, you said Arsenal were trying things tactically. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And total football, what I'm saying by he's trying to play total football is me explaining what United was doing, okay? I'm not saying it is total football now. What I'm saying is there were times when Wan-Bissaka was at the 10, right? Bruno Fernandes against Dortmund was at the center back for a couple of moments. You know, these rotating positions, because Lisandro Martinez pushes forward, the fullbacks come around. You know, it is that is the definition of total football. Players playing in multiple positions comfortably.
This game, guys, was Cartwheel's Champions League final. This was Premier League deciding day, this preseason game for Cartwheel. It was. That's what it meant to him.
That's not what it meant to me at all.
It is. We can see it. We can hear it in your voice.
No. You're saying we lost a bunch of games. I'm explaining what's going on.
Only because you're bigging up this win. You started the segment
with a
2-0 dominant win.
I didn't say that. What I said is 82,000 people in the stadium. It's not a casual friendly at that point. I'm sorry, Milo.
It is a casual friendly.
No,
it doesn't
I'm sorry.
matter if there was a
you
million
haven't played
people
in front of people then.
Matter.
You haven't played in front of an audience. You haven't played in front of an audience.
I'm not a professional footballer.
Exactly. So how would you know? How would you know what it feels like? Because I played in front of a stadium. I played in front of a stadium. And even if it's a friendly, even if it's a fucking alumni game or some shit, you get pumped when there's people there. It adds energy. You play a music gig. You play a gig, a band. You play at a coffee shop. A couple of people there. You one intensity. You go to a club. You play a show there. 200 people, you adrenaline fills your body. You know, it's a different thing when 82,000 people are in the stands.
Noob.
Look, no. Listen.
These are not noobs. They know it's preseason.
This idea that we should have taken it easy is just is a little weak. It's a little weak.
Who said you should have taken it easy?
Did you see Barcelona versus Real Madrid?
Who said you should have taken it easy?
That was not a friendly.
That
was not a friendly.
I never said you should have taken it easy. In fact, I complimented Ten Hag if that's what he wanted to see from his team. He saw it. I complimented him.
Okay, but then it's very easy for. Okay, look. What I'm saying is, in that situation against the league champs or the league competing champs, we played toe to toe with you guys.
It meant more to you than us. That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know at the end of the day if it really meant more to us.
To me, by the way. I mean, just chucking that out there.
It meant way more to you, Cart, than anyone else on this panel.
The performance mattered to me. You're right. The performance mattered to me because because these players are paid millions of dollars to perform. They're paid millions of dollars to perform.
Next game,
they're not paid to flub an easy shot by Bruno with his left foot.
Okay.
They're not paid to miss an easy trap by a long ball, you know? Like, it's like what are you talking about?
We beat Barcelona, so it's
you beat
whatever.
Barcelona when they played their first 45 minutes after you guys had played 4 games. You know?
Oh my God. Okay.
You guys had 4 games under your belt, and Barca's playing their first because they had gastroenteritis.
When can this segment end? Because we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere.
All I'm saying is,
you've made your feelings very clear. United are amazing. Total football. You won't lose a game this year.
No,
I can see it.
We will.
No, you won't, because you're playing total football. And your preseason,
do you know what total football means?
Arsenal,
do you know what total football means? I don't even think you know what total football means.
For the rest of the year.
I don't even think you know what total football means. That doesn't mean you win every game, okay? That's not what total football means.
I know what total football is.
Okay, well then why are you saying because we play total football we're going to win every game? That makes no sense. Zero sense. I'm pretty sure
if I go back in the segment, you said something. You linked the win to the way you were playing total football.
No, I didn't. I said we were trying things tactically. You're saying Arsenal were trying things tactically. No, we were trying things tactically as well.
Okay.
Now you're trying things tactically as well.
Now you're doing the voice.
We were doing things tactically different too. So what now? What happens at that point? Nothing. It's a moot point.
I'm about to hit end, guys, because now he's bringing out the voice. That is stupid, and I won't take that. I won't take it.
No, you're saying Arsenal will tried so many things differently tactically. Okay, we were doing things differently tactically too. So what then? You know, like what?
Dude,
that's all I'm saying.
Ultimately, we will know in May who's had the better season, and on September 3rd we'll actually play in a meaningful game, and I guess we'll see what happens. And if we play like we did in the first 45 minutes in that preseason friendly, then I will be disappointed.
Yeah, no, and we can make mistakes too. That's not a big. I'm not saying we're not going to make mistakes. I'm just saying on that occasion. No, my point was about it being a casual friendly. What I'm saying is when you play in that atmosphere, you don't want to lose, period. And, you know, and I know you're going to say Arteta after the match, that's what he has to say, blah, blah, blah. No, as a competitor, you play ping pong, you want to win. You play pool, you want to win. You play darts, you want to win. You play a round of golf, you want to win. You play, I don't know, hopscotch, you want to win. You want to win.
Yeah,
with your first team.
Oh my God, dude! Wanting to win.
Hang on, let me come in here.
Wanting to win and actually being okay with a preseason defeat in a first half is 2 different things, man. When the season starts, we will want to win every friggin' challenge.
And this is my point. I am happy that United has the mentality of winning every single time they play. That is the difference. Do you understand? How you just said, when it comes to the season, we'll turn up, right? You know how you're saying that? I understand that. I prefer a player that's getting paid $50 million a week to show up every week. Preseason training.
Okay, but your next 3 games prove that doesn't work.
It does. It does not mean they did not attempt to win the games. Against Madrid, we competed very, very, very well.
So Ten Hag's mentality for the next games was not to win.
No, his mentality was to win.
Okay.
Yes.
But it didn't work. So it doesn't.
Of course it didn't work. Of course it won't always work.
Exactly. So in a preseason game, it really doesn't matter if we have to have this mentality. We must win this game.
Right.
No. You have to have the mentality. If you lose, that's okay. If you lose, that's okay.
Hang on. You've got to remember, right? So preseason, I'm sure every single player wants to win as many games in preseason as they can because they're competitive, they're winners, and that's what they want to do. They also don't want to get injured. So they're not going to go into tackles like Martinez has been doing, right? I understand Martinez is probably one of the best competitors we've seen in the Premier League last season with how he goes into tackles and things like that. But not every player is going to want to do that sort of thing because they'd rather be fit for the season. Like you saw how much it meant to Kobe Mino when he got injured, which was an innocuous knock, right? He knew he was going to be out for the rest of the tour, which means he can't impress and might not get a start, might end up being the difference to him in going on loan. And players don't want to get that injury. I've been in that position, playing high-level sport, where you're doing a warm-up tournament and then going into a proper tournament. You try hard, but you don't try so hard that you're going to go and pull a muscle, or you're going to go and do this, you're going to do that. You do that in training where you've got all of the sports scientists tracking all of your data, doing all of that. You want to win, but it is for fitness. It is for fitness to get you at the right levels for when the competitive games start.
I think there's a massive
That's
tactical element.
That's what
I think there's
these players are doing.
I think there's fitness element. I think there's tactical element. I think there's technical element. I think there's getting your personal match sharpness. Maybe Lisandro wants to time it, get his sliding tackles timed down, and he's trying them. Why not try him in preseason? Ronald Araujo against was it Saka or Martinelli or somebody? He went in with a foot in challenge, won the ball. It was a rough challenge, but it is what it is. This is the time where if you get a red card, it's not going to have repercussions in the season. Like,
I agree.
I just wonder how you would feel if it was one of your players and
I'd be like, he's competing. They're competing. They're competing.
Yeah, it's easy to say that now, though, isn't it, Carl? We've all been
I didn't
there
complain
when
at all when Kobe Mino got injured.
I
didn't complain at all when Kobe Mino got injured. I said that's part of the game, man.
Yeah.
Dude fell on your leg.
Injuries are part of the game. That's it, for sure.
That's it. And it's also a test for the squad.
I never said anything about Martinez's challenge for the record either. So
no, that was me. Yeah, that was me. So I think there's an element of,
and it's Arsenal, man. It's not.
It's a competitive game. Yeah, it's a competitive game against Arsenal. It's a classic. It's a Premier League classic.
Exactly. Like what happened to I thought
I'm with Milo. It doesn't matter until we play them in September.
Obviously, it doesn't matter for the Premier League, guys. I'm not. Obviously, no one's saying it matters for the Premier League. This is about your players competing in front of 80,000.
I think our players have shown they can compete. I think just because that 45-minute display got you from 6 to midnight, I don't think it means anything for
it has nothing
for the fate
to do
of our season.
It has everything to do with the performance of my team and not much to do with Arsenal. Arsenal making silly mistakes like that's a bonus, but it's all about the way my team played.
Moving on, Højlund, what does he bring? Let's get on with it.
Højlund, let's just remember, he's going to be on about 80K a week, right? So he's not... People are saying, why didn't you go for Kane? Why didn't you go for Osimhen? These guys are going to cost... First off, the transfer fee is going to be ridiculous. And then on top of that, their wage is going to be ridiculous. So with Højlund, yeah, the transfer fee is a little high, but apparently he's this big physical attacking... he has, I think, the highest speed in the squad speed in the United squad now. Physical presence up top, going to push the opponent's line back, counter pressing, all that stuff. But he's going to be around I believe 80K, 80,000 pounds a week. So he's not expected, in my opinion, to be a starter, right? He's going to be in that on the bench, coming off the bench for Martial. He's only 20 years old right now, so you got to remember we're getting him at an age when before Darwin Núñez had even played in Spain. Right, let alone before moving to Benfica, right? You got to remember this because we're paying similar money for him. Obviously, he's doesn't have the proven goal record of Núñez, but we are getting him at that age. You got to this is like a signing that we don't normally do. We'll usually overpay for like a Lukaku or something, or bring. Obviously, last year we had Weghorst on loan, but we're getting him at a young age. He's going to develop under Ten Haag, and he's going to apparently. Ten Hag and him have been having video conference chats since the beginning of the year. They've been chatting about his role at the club and how he wants him to play, etc. For Denmark, I think right now he's the highest goal scoring player in the Euro qualifying, I believe. He has 6 goals. But for Atalanta, his goal scoring record isn't as good, but he's competing with Christian Zapata, right? Duvan Zapata, excuse me. And so, he's obviously not getting the same opportunities that someone like Darwin Núñez would when he was at Benfica starting every game as the number 9. So a lot of people are making a big deal about the numbers. Also, the comparisons to Haaland is just crazy, in my opinion. That's just not... Just the name is just gonna, just the name is what's going on here. But I think he's gonna be... First off, we need numbers in the squad. And I think he will, hopefully, which very unlikely, if Martial can stay fit, we'll be able to bring him into the team at a decent pace. If Martial can get fit. He's apparently back in training, should play against Lens next Sunday. Those are my thoughts on Højlund on a calmer note. Culture, do you have any thoughts about
Cultured?
Julian?
I think I agree with pretty much everything you said, other than I don't care what his wage is because it's not my money. And I think he does start. I think he's coming in as our starting striker. Maybe not straight away. I think it would transition into him being the starter this season. I think quite early on this season. I think Martial has proved he can't have the fitness to do it. So why even bother? I'd rather have Martial coming off the bench for something else after Højlund starts. But I think Højlund offers a physical presence that Weghorst tried to give us, but with better finishing ability and pace to run off the shoulder, in behind, give that ability. I think he's got what, 9 I think last season or something in total, not including international games. 9
goals, yeah.
I think it's still one of the better goals to minute ratios because he hardly played 90 minutes for Atalanta, mainly coming off the bench, scoring a lot of goals. There's clearly a good footballer in there. The clubs do this, or it's like Declan Rice, Havertz, however you want to do it. These clubs do so much scouting. They will justify how much they can pay and what they will go up to and what they won't pay and things like that. So there's a reason why Man United weren't the only club linked with him. It's like, again, Declan Rice. There's a reason why loads of clubs are linked with him. Jude Bellingham. It's the players are scouted and there's so much data on them. I don't care that he's only scored 9 goals for Atlanta because he's clearly a good player. Otherwise, no clubs would be interested in him. Like, he's young, he's athletic, he's big, he's fast, he can score goals. Great. It's exactly what we need. Like, Bruno had the highest XA expected assists last season. We just didn't have a striker to finish them off. So
I think,
yeah,
with the forward of his current record, and he is young, he's got youth on his side, all the rest of it, right? Like, if he was coming in at Arsenal, I'd be like, I would be hoping he wouldn't be necessarily the number 9 starting striker, maybe. But if he is your starter, it's a quite a risk, right? Because you're not bringing in a prolific.
This is the thing, right?
European prolific goal scorer, right? So
in an ideal world, you bring in Kane or Osimhen and Højlund, and you have one of them starting up front for you, and you have Højlund coming off the bench. But we're never going to do that, and I quite like the fact that we're not going down, like Hart said, we're not going down that Lukaku route. Spanking 80 million and 200 grand a week on a player that turns out to be shit.
And it's not to say that that he won't become one of the best forwards in Europe. Maybe he will. Like, I did catch a few of his performances because I watched a lot of Serie A last year because we kind of did a Serie A segment there during the season. And I think I'd be very happy with that signing. I just think maybe my only reservation for you would be if you throw him in too deep too soon, maybe, because the patience level of fans and the media in the Premier League is so small.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I'm hoping Martial can stay fit so we can bring him through. And even if Martial does get injured, I imagine we'll start Garnacho on the wing and put Rashford through the middle to protect Højlund in the beginning.
I think that's how we start the season. Yeah, I think Garnacho on the left, Rashford through the middle is how we start the season.
And also the thing about Martial versus Højlund, they're completely different, right? Martial likes to drop deep, almost like a Kane. By the way, Martial also on his final year of his contract. So we'll see what happens with that. I imagine he'll leave on a free. He's on 250K a week, so he's not going to be looking for. Moving him on that type of wage is going to be difficult, right? I don't know when he renegotiated that contract, but we signed Martial at a similar age. I think he was, even younger than Højlund. I think Martial was like 18, I want to say. And we paid him outrageous wages. And I think the wage part is a very, very important part of this contract because someone mentioned it to me the other night, is the wage is what kind of keeps players at the club, right? If you give them a high wage, they're other clubs are less likely to want to pay that high wage. They're less likely to want to sign him on a better wage, to make it an enticing offer for the player to leave Man United. And him being on around 80K, which is rumored, I don't know, maybe could be higher. I don't know. He was apparently on 600K a year at Atalanta, so he's definitely getting a pay rise. If things don't work out and a loan needed to be determined, or if things don't work out and a sale needs to be made, we could still get him off the books for decent value. We'll probably eat some of the transfer fee if things don't work out. But the fact that we're not paying him Jadon Sancho 350K a week after a year or two in Bundesliga, obviously proven track record for Jadon Sancho, but the fact that we're getting him at this stage rather than post, quote unquote, to quote Darwin Núñez, post Benfica era, right? After scoring crazy goals is I think a plus for us, even though we're having to pay a little higher transfer fee at this stage. But but he just offers something different, right? Right now, Rashford's the only one who runs behind the line, and Garnacho, and they both play off the left. So it's Rashford through the middle, little flimsy, little weak, difficult with his back to goal, to hold up. Højlund can do both, right? He can also play out on the right wing. For Atalanta, oftentimes he would play out on the wings as well. Lots of pace and, real kind of a physical specimen as well when you think about it,
So that,
very much that way.
It kind of brings us to, like you guys asked me, what do you win? Do United win anything this season? If so, what?
Got this feeling we're going to win the FA Cup. I don't know why. I don't think we're going to win the Champions League. I don't think we're going to win the Premier League. I think Man City regain their stronghold on the League Cup. But I've got this feeling in my bones, as they say, that we're going to go and win the FA Cup this year, which I'll be happy with. I think top four in the FA Cup, I'd be pretty happy with that.
I mean, how can you top a friendly win at MetLife Stadium against Arsenal? I mean, I don't think you can really top that.
We know that's how you feel.
You can't top it. So I mean, anything from here on out, it's a whatever. But top four has to be the minimum. That's the trophy I want again, because the positioning we had to sign players from that top four position is how we're getting Haaland, is how we're getting Onana, is how we're getting Mount, and possibly Amrabat, who might be coming in. But if we lose that positioning, we still have these players, but maybe some of their wages go down. Maguire, for example.
Do you think you can challenge for the title?
I mean, sure. I think it's possible if we can get Casemiro cover, because I'm just looking at last season. Obviously, now with Onana, it does change things. So now it will be a slight growing pain with Onana now, because now the center backs are going to be a lot more is going to be demanded of our center backs playing on the ball, etc. But I do think that if we can get that Casemiro back up, because Casemiro, he showed glimpses that he's obviously past his prime last season. A couple games here and there, he'd go out of form. Obviously, he picked up some red cards, and we were left with McTominay, Fred as backups, and that's where the drop-off you really felt the drop-off there. Also, obviously, in the front line. So, I don't know if Martial, Højlund, right, and also Anthony, right? We got a lot of unproven players on the front line that will really dictate things. For example, if I look at Arsenal, I see Saka, I see Martinelli, I see Jesus, I see that front and Odegaard, that front four working really well together, creating chances. I don't see that at United just yet. So thinking of them as a title challenge is just speculative, like it's wishful thinking right now, just because I haven't seen the front four. Obviously Bruno had a great season, but I haven't seen the front four collectively playing nicely.
The problem is the bar is so high. Like your title challenge can, I'm not saying the season would be over, but and I think Arsenal are in the same boat, and most teams are in the same boat. If you don't get off to a good start, like your season in terms of title challenge can be over by September, October,
because
true. A team like City just is how many games they're going to lose. You have to hope that, like you said earlier, they're a little bit weaker and that some other teams take points off them. It's
just so competitive this year. So that's why I think top four.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope it is, and that's that's why I don't know. That's
why we love football.
That's why I said top four as well. I want to see Arsenal challenge. I think we have to challenge again, given what we've done after finishing second last time. But top four for me, we got to stay in the Champions League now. That's the minimum bar.
I think this is where I hate to go back to this, but like this is where just winning the game and going in with the mentality of winning the next game is going to be key, because like you said, it's going to be extremely competitive. You know, Chelsea have just the league to focus on. They've got a nice little setup. Newcastle, Spurs with Ange will have a little pep in their step. City, obviously, Arsenal, Liverpool as well. They got a lot to prove. It's just going to be like, you know, just focus on 3 points here and there.
Yeah, the one game at a time mentality is what Arteta preached from the start of last season, and it worked a treat until the Saliba in.
And you could say the same for Ten Hag, right? We played most games, I think, in England because we were kind of going at each competition full force. Obviously, you know, injuries and things like that happen, and you know that's just part of it. I'm sure there will be 1 or 2 teams that will finish a lot lower because of injuries. You know, it could be Newcastle, it could be United, it could be Arsenal, it could be Spurs. You know, it could be anybody. But yeah, that'll be over time. There's an argument to be made that Pep's style of football commits less injuries. You know, it's because of the snooze fest, as I like to call it.
The question is, do we this season do a 91st minute watch along for certain games?
If you enjoyed the content, please do subscribe to the 91st Minute here on YouTube and use the links in the descriptions to follow us on all social media platforms.